All right, let's talk about troubleshooting the curveball, especially when you're bouncing it. So when you're bouncing your curveball too much and you can't seem to get it up into the zone, typically two things are happening. Number one, you're rushing down the mound, which means when you're lifting your leg and going, you're not staying back long enough to keep your shoulders level as long as they need to, and typically you'll see a little bit of downhill slope with their shoulders, or their center of mass starts to leak out a little bit too soon. So if you're bouncing your curveballs, number one, think about, okay, let's stay back on my back leg a little bit longer, and let's try to go uphill with my shoulders just a hair more, and then that's going to help us with level shoulders to force the ball through the strike zone a little bit longer. So again, downhill shoulders and feeling that your body rushes and your center of mass leaks out, that's typically probably the number one cause of bouncing too many curveballs. Number two, over gripping it. So if you're really, really tight and you're really, really like thinking through it and nervous, a lot of times you'll just really try to ram through it and you'll yank into the ground. If you're doing that, just take a deep breath, take a belly breath, and really relax and allow the pitch to come out of your hand naturally. You can't force it, you can't over grip it. Number three, where's your focal point? So if you're looking at the mitt and you're consistently bouncing them, remember the curveball is going to break 14, 16 inches, something like that. So if I'm using the mitt as my focal point, and typically the catcher's mitt is going to be obviously right at the bottom of the zone, that 14 inches is going to take it into the ground, right? So make sure you're working really hard with your focal point, and maybe pick up the catcher at his chin or at his eyes and ram your starting point of your curveball for his eyes. So if you're bouncing them, lift your eyes up in the zone, pick out a spot on the catcher, and hammer the curveball to that higher focal point. So with pretty much all of the trouble spots that pitcher can get into, bouncing the curveball and hanging the curveball, the two the poles on the continuum, are the biggest part. So obviously rushing and getting downhill is one problem area that we can correct. The other one is over gripping and then using our focal point. So if you're having trouble, remind yourself to relax, lift your focal point up if you're bouncing it, keep your weight back, and get your shoulders going uphill a little bit more, and typically that'll get your curveball out of the dirt.